Hello everyone, welcome to the new video where we can learn a new concept which is called corresponding square. Have a look at this position. This position is white to play and win. Can you find the winning move? Got your answer? Don't keep it to yourself. Comment your move below. Now let's raise the difficulty level and let's evaluate this position. This position is white to play and win. All of you can pause the video and try and figure it out. How can white win this game? Hope all of you have paused the video. So as we see that white has one extra pawn, so white is supposed to win this game. I am sure most of you must have found a candidate move, king to b4 or king to d4. Those are the two candidate moves which we must have thought. So let's see what happens in these two variations. So if king b4 is played, let's see if really white is winning or not. Here comes king to e6. The idea for white is to grab the b5 and a5 pawns and promote this pawn to the queen. So let's see what is happening actually. So here comes king into b5, king into e5, capture. Let's see if really white is winning. f4, b6, f3, b7, f2, b8 equal to queen and f1 equal to queen. So it seems this is a drawish position. That's why king into king b4 is not the winning move. So it's very natural to play king to d4 because you are trying to help the pawn to promote. You are trying to move to the d5 square. But unfortunately, even the d4, king to d4 is not the winning move because the moment white king steps on d4, black plays king to e6. And now white has realized that he has to lose the e5 pawn. So here comes the concept of corresponding squares. The d4 and e6 squares are corresponding to each other. This means white has to be very careful while stepping on d4 because black can step quickly on e6. Even black has to be careful while stepping on e6 because the white king can quickly step on d4. So keeping the corresponding squares concept in mind, the winning move for white in this position would be king to d3. Asking questions to black. Can you now step on e6? The moment you step on e6, I step on d4. Here if king e6 happens, king d4 and obviously king has to go back and this should be a very easy win for white. So black will say I am not going to step on e6, I will move to d7. A smart waiting move. And here comes the brilliant move by white which is e4. Asking questions to the black pawn on f5. Can you get yourself traded? So black has to decide whether to capture the e4 or step down to f4. If capture happens, obviously it's very easy win for white. So black has to play your f4. One more brilliant move by white would be king to e2. Obviously king will come down to e6 to grab the e5 pawn. Here it is very natural to play the king to f3. But if king f3 is played, it's a terrible blunder because of king into e5. And surprisingly, white loses both the pawns. White king has to go back and here comes king into e4. Suddenly it's black winning. So that was a terrible blunder to play the king to f3 because even f3 and e5 squares are corresponding to each other. So the winning move for white here is king f2. Asking questions to black. Now can you capture e5? Obviously if he goes back, then we are much more early to capture the f4 pawn. So black actually has to capture on e5. And the moment he steps on e5, white king steps on the corresponding square f3. This is the moment black realizes that he has to again go back. He has to lose the f4 pawn. And this should be actually a very easy win for white. So this is what the corresponding square concept is. You have to identify the corresponding squares. In this position, d4 and e6 were the corresponding squares to each other. Even e6 and f4 squares were correspond to each other. When the king came down to e5, when the pawn was on e4, f3 and e5 were corresponding to each other. So if you evaluate the corresponding squares carefully, you will understand where to place your king. Hope you like the video. Do like, share and subscribe for similar interesting videos.